Hey, everybody, and welcome to this week's edition of Keep the Mic On. After our short 4th of July break, we are back with this week's edition of From Behind the Microphone. I am simply Sherri. I will talk more about my week and my event in a little bit since I'm the one hosting tonight. So for now, I'm going to kick it to the one, the only Girl Genius.
Hey, everybody, I'm Girl Genius. Nice to be back with you guys. Absolutely great to be back. My week is called Keep the Mic On. Let's talk about the generally book, but gonna have some other stuff coming up. I am the first week of every month, and yes, I am very excited to be here and be back with you guys. And I am going to keep it short and simple tonight and pass it on to, hey, I see you. You just popped up. I'm going to go ahead and pass it on to Nikki J.
Hello, everybody. Hopefully, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, good. Okay, awesome. I am Kaniki Jakarta, happily serving a 3-year term as the first Black Poet Laureate of Alexandria. My week on this awesome platform is called Poets and Platforms, where I interview poets who have platforms for the arts, not necessarily poetry, but other platforms as well. I am the 4th week of every month, so I'll be back next week. And I guess we're gonna wait for Sherri for the end. So we're gonna kick it to the one, the only Sherri Joyce Blackwell. Round of applause.
Oh my gosh. Oh, I hear them all clapping and snapping. Thank you, Kaniki. Always love when you introduce me. Hey everyone, my name is Charity Blackwell. I'm 1/4 of this collective of Keep the Mic On amongst this beautiful collective of women. And my nights is themed art therapy. So I like to interview artists who use their platform to leverage healing, whether that is for themselves and or the audiences that they serve. Had some really amazing folks come through. And honestly, just being a part of this collective have been introduced to so many different platforms, so many different artists that I've never heard of, some that I have heard of. So it's been a really awesome experience. And yeah, I'm really, really excited about our feature for tonight. I know that they have created so many opportunities for platforms during this thing called the pandemic, and have had a lot of slams, open mics, and just a really amazing poet and host. So I'm really excited for tonight. So with that being said, I'm about to kick it back to Simply Sherri. Hope y'all enjoy tonight.
Unmute myself real quick. I am sorry. I'm going to do a little bit of shameless self-promotion. We have been here for about 15, 16 months now, and several of the artists that we have featured and we have talked to here on Keep the Mic On will be working on 2 events with me later this summer on August 4th and August 11th. I will be working with Carlin Newhouse, Megan Rickman, Analysis, Amin the Matrix Killer, Reggie Kabiko, Black Root, and VJ Nathan at the Only Theater. So I'm going to make sure that the link gets put out there so that you can get tickets, find out who is showcasing and featuring when. And it'll be a couple of very dope nights of poetry going on out at the Only Theater on Wednesday, August 4th and Wednesday, August 11th. I'm going to kick it over to Girl Genius because some major news just came out about one of her recent special guests.
Yeah, I was like, when we can come back and talk to you about like just major life news that has happened to any one of the people we had on the show. You know, we've had we've had a Grammy nominee, we've had people have major book deals, we've had people win all kinds of things. So now, if you remember, not too long ago, I had B. Sharice Moore on this show, and I had her right after the release of her book, Dr. Jen's Marvelous Odd Scholars. Well, apparently it has been picked up by a major network for a series. That happened. I don't know the full details yet, but she did announce that it has been. They're working out the deal. That's a major network is looking at it, and I am fully excited for her, and I cannot wait to see what they do with this thing. So, yeah, that's the big one for right now.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yo, shout out to growth. Shout
Yeah,
out to
the
people
funny
just
part
like
is-
making moves, yo.
The funny part is, we asked her about this when she was on the show, and she said it took everything not to announce it while she was on here because they hadn't solidified everything yet. But that's where we are.
Nice.
Yeah.
Looks like Kat's here.
Yes, she is. So I'm going to go ahead and bring her up. So tonight is my night, which is why I did not do too much of an intro to my night and what it's about, because my night is called From Behind the Microphone, where we take the time to get to know the person behind the poems and behind the slam and all of the other things that Kat Magill does, which is amazing. How you doing, Kat?
I am doing well. I am so excited to see you and to be here.
So
and just chop it up.
Yeah, that's what, and you know what? We definitely tell everybody this is a conversation with your bestie girlfriends. Tell everybody, get a drink and relax, because we're just going to talk about arts and everything that you do. So for those that don't know Kat Magill is a 2-time National Poetry Slam finalist, HBO Def Jam poet, creator of the poetry film The Myth, and the self-made artist aspiring courageous acts of independence through poetic expression. Kat has featured on HBO, Current TV, Politicon, and for United Nations, sharing stages with Claudia Rankine, Elanya Van Zant, and Sonia Sanchez. She believes love is a restorative force of bravery that initiates self-exploration. Kat is the executive director of Say Word, a Los Angeles nonprofit, and host of the Screentime Slam. Everyone, virtually give it up for Kat Magill.
Thank you.
Now, I know I normally would send out like a whole, let her know to run a show, and I totally forgot to do that this week. So this is your opportunity to drop a poem on the people that have never heard you before.
Oh, okay. I didn't know we were going to start with a poem. So that's all fine.
But while you're looking, I will tell everybody, have I met Kat in person yet? No. Will it happen at some point in the future now that the panty is starting to die down? Yes, it's going to happen, because that's just who we are as people. But I met Kat virtually, and it's one of my favorite stories of the pandemic. On Fourth Fridays on Busboys and Poets Live on Instagram, I host the Love and Erotic Slam. My impression of the moment from Kat's side, not that I was there because I was on the screen hosting. I'm on the screen hosting saying, hey, I still have some slots left. Kat is in the car going, I ain't got nothing else to do, so let me go ahead and win this slam. That is what happened.
Well, if I remember correctly, it was all men in the slam.
It was,
and I had tuned in just to see what these fellas were gonna do,
right,
all the things, and then I just was like, "Oh my God, there's no women representation in this slam.
None at all.
I'm not doing nothing. I'm sitting in the car waiting on my daughter to get off work." Okay. And I remember I asked you, I was like, is there any women in the slam? And you were like, no. And I was like, go ahead and throw my name in. We need to be represented somewhere. And you know, gave those boys a little licking real quick. It was fun. But
she had nothing better to do. But go ahead.
So I would love to read a new piece. How about that?
Go right ahead, and I'm going to exit stage left.
Okay, I love this. So thank you so much for having me. My name is Kat Magill. I'm a poet and executive director out of Los Angeles. This is a brand new poem. So y'all are the first to hear it out of anyone. So new shit. All right, here we go. I once read a book about the 5 love languages. It said that everyone had a particular way that they gave and received love, and studies showed that words of affirmation is the most common type of love language that people want to receive. The act of being told that they are loved, being told that they are not alone, being told that everything will be okay, and I am a woman of words, taught my tongue to dance a compassionate tango, let my lips drip in reassurance, even amidst a lie, a gift from my father. I know how to make the whole whole world feels safe with a single breath, even when my mind is a wrecking ball, a mosh pit of curses colliding calamity with heart songs of hopeless. I know how to grin, pull my mouth wide like an open curtain because the show must go on. Craft a carefully threaded string of sentences into a post that can hide a death march. Let my teeth dance and fingers type to cast out a graveyard of ghosts living behind pretty pictures. I speak in a language I myself do not understand, because these are just words. This is not how I know love, but his hands, her smile, the bounce of their step, a wave hello, the outburst of excitement followed by an embrace, physical touch, the closeness of bodies, cheeks pressed together, fingers grasping shoulders, eyes shining like two perfect gifts. The first language that I learned without filters, only flesh and imperfection. There is not enough words to describe what being held feels like. But do you know what quarantine means to a person whose love language is physical touch? It means to live in silence, to scream in a crowded chat room and no one hears a sound. It means my fingers know a keyboard better than a body. It feels like a bad connection, a perpetually dropped signal, a dark cell flooded with mistranslations. It feels like 1,000 voices wailing, I love you, but all I can hear is the ring of sirens. It is doubt amplified because I feel bankrupt, boarded up, and apocalyptic, temporarily closed until the world stops scrolling. I am not just tired. I am forever changed. Because how do I relearn a language that doesn't feel safe to speak? How do I trust the threshold of my arms to not welcome death? I never thought that how I loved could bring the world to a halt, that panic would partner with pleasure, a parade of pulsing fear, leaving me paralyzed. I try to catch the warmth of the sun and remind myself that its kiss is a gift. I am trying to step into crowded rooms and affirm my strength with words. I am trying to give myself the quality time necessary to unpack having been caged. I am trying to serve myself a silver platter of patience, but how do I sit at a table and not want to eat, to touch and taste when I have been starved for so long? The first love language I learned was physical touch, not click or scroll or bait and switch, not sales pitch or dollar signs, not popularity or vying for attention. It was through the arms of my grandmother, big and bold like a polar bear saving me from extinction. Love was laying my head in my father's lap when monsters dared to shake my bed. Love is when my mother never leaving my presence without a hug, hello, and goodbye, and my teenage daughter coiling her 5'9" body on the couch beside me, close enough to hear each other's heartbeats. There is no notifications needed to remind me of how I give and receive love to feel whole. I hope that my hands can offer that again one day. But until then, I will not pretend like the world we all knew didn't just end. It just takes time to learn a new language, especially one not done being written.
Oh my God.
Little stumbles. It's new. It's little stumbles.
No, but I felt every sentence of that. Like, I think my love language is acts of service, which also went away, went away a little bit during the pandemic because people you can only do but so much.
Yeah.
But the line where you mentioned how you brought the pandemic and being able to touch, being kind of separated in this moment. Y'all, I am stuck because that poem is so good.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm currently working on a project because during the pandemic I was writing, like as we all were, documenting everything, and I think moving forward, I want to put together an entirety of a project that I think is actually going to be animated. But that's I think what's happening is what I'm trying to say is there's a big group of people in the world that are like, we're almost through it. I just want to forget it happened. I just want to move this. And the issue with that is there's so much PTSD. There's so much, disconnect. There's so much stuff happening on, like, to try to move on and just pretend the world's normal is it's not going to work. And so as an artist, right, this is what we do of like, how do we work through something? How do we process it? How do we unpack it? And to be able to provide people with a broader lens of things that they should be looking at outside of just COVID. Did you get sick? Did somebody die? Because that's such the surface of everything. And so for me, thinking about like every individual is different, like folks that, you know, are great with their love language is communication, right? Is words of affirmation. You know, they felt differently than a person that's love language is acts of service or touch or things like that. And those are also a part of how we communicate. So moving forward into the new world, like we just have a lot to unpack, and I want to allow the space for people to think about those things moving forward.
And the luggage of the last year, last 18 months. And actually probably going next 12, because we're still not quite out of it.
We're not out of it. No, we are clearly not out of it, because there is a whole new strand.
Right. And I am women, and we've talked about this before, and anybody that's got anything to say about it, please come feel free to pay my rent. I'm a poet with a day job.
I feel it. And I mean, I tell you what, like I'm a full-time artist and arts education consultant. Mm-hmm. And it's been I know we're kind of just going down the rabbit hole and talking, but
that's wait a minute. There's two things I'm going to say. One, that's what we do here.
Okay.
And two, I know you got something else to do tonight, so trust me, I'm gonna do the best I can to get us out of here by 8:30.
Okay, I love it.
Some time before you do the next thing, and don't worry, y'all. We will be talking about the next thing shortly.
I love it. So yeah, what I was going to say is, you know, there's been a large discussion I feel like happening on amongst the full-time artists, the part-time artists, the aspiring artists, I do this as a hobby and a little play money artist. And I've seen a lot of people, right, being on this, like, I want to be a full-time artist. Mm-hmm. And there's a weird stigma around if you have a sustainable 9 to 5, then somehow your art is depreciated. And I just want to say, it's so funny to me because I've been a full-time artist for 15 years, and I'm looking during this pandemic and going, oh, where that good day job at with the benefits and all the things? Like, I'm trying to revert the other way. You know what I mean? And it's like, I think it's so interesting how people look at it like, oh, I'd rather be, you know, an artist that has less, right? Just to say I'm an artist, than to have all my shit together, have all my bills paid, have all the things I need in life, and do this art for pure choice and pleasure. And it's just an interesting conversation going on. And if anybody is listening out here, boo, if your art is your pleasure and you can make money off of it and monetize it, I'm telling you right now, as an artist of 15 years, the moment your art becomes a job, it's still a job. It's still a job.
It's a that's that meme I saw going around. It's somebody put it on Twitter. It's like, imagine your hobby is now your hustle. Because people that know me know that I write poems. I sew a lot of my own clothes. I do all kind of things. And they're like, oh, you can do this and make some extra money. And I'm like, yeah, I could, but then I would lose the joy of it.
Right.
Now, poetry brings me being in the poetry world brings me two types of joy. Like, it brings me the joy. Other artists will tell you that I'm as much of a fan as I am a poet. So the days that I just get to sit in a venue and just listen to poets, just pour and pour and pour. I think one of my favorite memories of the past like 5-6 years is IWIPS was in DC. The International World Poetry Slam was in DC. By the end of that week, I was just like, okay, I'm full. I'm over full. But it felt so good.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I just think people need to really identify what happy looks like to them, right? Yeah. What does success actually mean? You know what I'm saying? Because moving forward, like I said, especially after this pandemic, where people are reassessing, right? Like, you know, what does that mean to be centered? What does it mean to hustle? What does it mean to grind? What does it mean to be sustainable? You know what I mean? Like, I think you're going to see a lot more hybrid careers, or, you know, polymath people, right? multi-potentialite people doing multiple things, but
Yes.
they be hustles and things, but finding the joy in them.
Yeah, interesting. I was just listening to something about the Great Resignation, which is going on right now. So many people after the pandemic quitting their jobs. It was on NPR. It's been a minute. They just talked about it, and because people are looking for the balance that they were able to find in the pandemic. Being working from home. If they were able to telework, which I was the entire pandemic, I just went back to work. Went back into the office, even though they've learned I don't really need to be there. But I think there are going to be a lot of people that are going to look at truly what are all their options to be able to sustain their life at the level that they wish to have it.
Yeah.
Because everybody's bougie is at a different level. We all bougie.
That is true. That is true. I mean, look, I can't handle that. I definitely got some needs and wants that I need and want. So
exactly things I like every month, and I'm so, and plus my day job is not that stressful, but don't let my boss hear that. So the first thing I want to talk to you about is what you have to do after this tonight. So let's talk about the Screentime Slam.
Yes. So tonight, Screentime Finals Season 6 is going down. It's been a crazy ride. Screentime, when we started it was in March of 2020, and during when the pandemic first, the lockdown came.
Yeah.
Honestly, girl, I thought that I'm gonna start this. I'm gonna be able to give like a couple $100 in donations away to some homies. Just to help us get through. That was
something to do.
That was something, you know what I mean? That I was like, how can I help? I just want to be able to help folks in ways that I can. And here we are 18 months later in the 6th season. And yeah, it's had every major artist, poet, singer, everything that you can possibly imagine on there. And tonight is the culmination. And so we have 6 amazing poets that won their qualifiers throughout the season. So we have Anubis, we have Trejay Powers, we have Poetic Prez, Chev, Nathan Wallace, and Lyrically Gifted Brother that are all going out for the $2,000 first place prize, $500 second place, and $250 third place, sponsored by With Our Words, which is a poetry organization out of Stockton. And yeah, we've had really great sponsors every season to be able to, give a pot like that each time. And yeah, but on top of that, the little twist, because Screentime always got a little twist on the ends, is that instead of 5 random strangers judging, we have an expert panel judging. So Black Chakra, Shihan, the Mighty Mike McGee, Akeem Rollins, and Tama Brisbane are 5 judges.
Wow, that sounds like Word Wars in Baltimore. Them judges, Baltimore Girl Genius isn't here with me right now. It's usually every year. It's a $700 slam in Baltimore live, and they get the.
I'm kind of here. Which
is it usually in like April or July? I can't remember what time of the year it is.
It used to be in December, and then she moved into the spring.
Okay. And those judges, it's always an expert panel of judges who have 0 cut cards.
Yeah. Yeah. I like it that way. I mean, look, every other art form and sport and everything else does not ask random audience members who bought a ticket in the stadium to judge something. They have an expert panel of people who know what they're doing, of what it is. I mean, it's fun because, how Slam started. It was fun. It was about engaging. It was about this, qualifiers. We still do that. But yeah, when there's real money on the line, because, for us, we give away also every qualifier who wins. We get money in the qualifiers. We get money in the semis. We get money in the finals. Like, we want to know, like, okay, do the OGs, do the seasoned veterans, do the experts feel that, this person should win, this person or this person win. So it should be a damn good time. We also have a feature, Masterpiece is featured tonight. Yeah, it's stacked. It's loaded tonight. We locked and loaded.
And I've seen, now here's the thing. The Kat is on the West Coast. I am on the East Coast, and the slam usually comes up past my bedtime. I'm not going to lie. I gotta go to work.
Yeah, it's at 7 p.m. here, but it's 10 p.m. for you.
10 p.m. on the East Coast. But every time I see the advertisements come up, she's had Talam AC, Sekou Andrews, who has been here. I've seen Breeze on the slam. I've seen Kenneth Something involved somehow. So definitely all the top tier poets are involved with that slam, and that happens on Instagram. But there's a fee because I have watched it once. So if anyone wanted to be able to get to buy a ticket and get to the Instagram, what do they need to do?
So this finals is actually free. And
okay.
Just tune in tonight and do that. Most finals we do, and it's literally $5. Typically we do for our finals just to raise money for the poets. But yeah, tonight is free. They just tune in to @PrettySimpleCat, 7 p.m. Pacific time, 9 p.m. Central time, 10 p.m. Eastern time. And just, we always have a donation. Our donation for that is Screentime Slam with Cash App. And all of the proceeds always go back into making sure the poets are paid, making sure features are, making sure also other programming that we have going on where we're doing youth stuff for people, just goes right back into the community. It's all about reciprocity and doing that. And if they want to sign up for the following season, they can always visit screentimeslam.com to see when the next season starts. This was the first season. We had 2 seasons where we actually started charging to compete. We went an entire year of free sign up and giving away money. And so we put the hard cost of $20
right.
To be able to win $2,000. So it's very affordable. It's very accessible. It's very equitable to everyone who wants to compete. And so, yeah, they can check out screentimeslam.com.
I know Analysis is watching because I see him out here commenting. So, yeah, he's been a part of the slam a few times, and he loves talking about it and how much fun he's had.
Oh my God. Analysis, we call our poetry uncle at Screentime Slam. Analysis is like, he's like the joy and the center and the like big ups. And then he also comes in and makes sure like our poets are on point because he come in with fire. You know what I'm saying? Every time. So if there's a poet like thinking that they may like, oh, I can get this one easy. I'm like, Analysis in your bell. You better come with it. You better come with it. So I always love Analysis, not only competing, but in the audience. And I love that, he's here, and that excites me as well.
Well, it's what I will say is that Alex is here. Hey, Alex.
Alex the Great?
Yes, Alex the Great.
Alex the Great is calibrating tonight.
Oh, yes.
Yay, because she's a beast. That's why.
So again, Pretty Simple Cat, her IG is at the top of the screen over here. So go ahead and make sure you follow her and you can watch the slam tonight. Because for all the slams I host, when was the last time I slammed? Actually, the last time I slammed was with Alex sometime last year. I just don't do it. My style does not fit poetry slam writing. That it's a definite art. I'm not good at that.
Well, girl, I mean, I slammed with some old ass poems twice or 3 times during the pandemic. That was it. Before that, it was 10 years ago. So, but that's why us host, you know what I'm saying? Us hosting poets. It's a great time though.
Oh yeah, I have a ball doing this. So the other thing I wanted to bring up. So you talked pretty much everything about Screen Time, about how you started it. Why have you chosen to keep it on Instagram and not move it to another platform?
So I think for me, like one of the things that I wanted to make sure of with Screen Time is that it's accessible to as many people as possible, right? And there's so many different platforms that are popping up with YouTube Live, with Clubhouse that's happening, with Oh Yay, which is another platform,
and we're on StreamYard streaming
exactly,
Facebook Live.
But what I believe is that on screen with Screen Time being on Instagram, it's a place where everybody kind of already is familiar with. They already know how to maneuver with. They already know how to, join in, what that looks like. And so I just wanted to keep it there for as long as I could. Now, that doesn't mean that we're not planning other things. But I think for us, it was the most accessible platform for other people. To be able to join easily, to be able to come on, spit a poem, be heard by as many people as possible, and then, win some money, get some help, or, just win some admiration, have more people follow them, more people tune in. It's also was an easy place, because every time someone competes on Screen Time, whether they win or lose, on the website, their picture is posted, people can find them easily, and it directs them right to Instagram. So Instagram was just a really quick way to kind of funnel more people that watched into the artists that were actually competing.
I like that idea. Thank you. So the next topic I want to talk about is the movie, The Myth. I watched the trailer for it today, and it released last year.
So The Myth released in 2019. The full film is on YouTube now, so totally can go watch it at any time. If you type in The Myth, Kat Magill, it'll pop right up. But yeah.
So what was the inspiration for that project?
So in 2018 is when we started filming and doing all that. And I was working, I was an executive director of Say Word, and that was kind of my whole life. And we've been around for 10 years. That's a nonprofit I run in Los Angeles. And I love that we've served 10,000 kids or probably more than that now. But I was having a yearning of just being an artist again. And I loved teaching the art form, but I was just craving being an artist again. And so I started working on my second book. And as I was writing my second book, I just wanted to be as transparent and honest and open as I could writing this one. Because us poets, we can be honest, but we can also hide behind the pretty. Oh, yeah. And this was a challenge to me to not do that this time, which was very vulnerable for me. Mm-hmm. And as I was writing it, I realized that I was writing a book about how I really pulled myself up from the trenches and of abuse, of abandonment, of all the things, and how I started unlearning bad habits and decolonizing definitions and things like that, and kind of redefining what love meant to me, what support meant to me, what communication meant to me, what, all these things meant. And so I was like, man, I want people to be able to see, like physically be able to see what these poems mean to me, because they are my life. And so in 2017, end of 2017, I started writing the book. 2018, I started converting it into a script. So I took a poetry book, converted it, and adapted it to a script. And then just had an amazing crew of people. Shantice Green, who is the lead actress in the film, was absolutely amazing. And Trey Bain, who plays the second love interest, was actually one of my poetry kids. And then, Darren James, who was my director and DP. And we just set out to go, can we do this, basically? A fully narrated poetry film had never been done. And so we didn't know what that was going to look like. Poetry, of course, had been incorporated into film or television in like little small increments, right?
That's what I love about hosting live shows. I tell people, have you seen poetry on TV and in the movies? No, people in the audience will shake their head. Yes, this ain't nothing like that. So
yeah, that's what I was about to say. Yeah. And so, we've seen, Hollywood will do a little dabble, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. They'll give you a 30-minute episode and you'll get 2 minutes of poetry, maybe if that, that's easily digestible. But I wanted to challenge that. I wanted to say what does it look like for something fully to be narrated by poetry for, 30 minutes straight? And to have a story being told that way. And so then we got through it. I was in love with it. It was the first film that I had ever produced, wrote, assisted direct. It was the first time I had done all that. And we ended up premiering it in downtown Los Angeles in 2019. We sold out theaters, over 300 people coming through. We ended up also premiering it at Raleigh Studios, which is the home of Netflix, which was cool. That was our second screening. And then the pandemic hit. We were touring the film, and then the pandemic kind of smashed on all of that. But we decided to just throw it up and allow people to still enjoy it and still watch it, because it is something different. It is something new. And I'm excited to see that, like, I'm seeing more and more, right, poetry being incorporated, right? You have Blind Spotting that dropped, you know, this past year. You have Summertime, which dropped just recently, right? Like just a month ago. You're seeing, you know, folks like Brandon Leak on America's Got Talent on these shows that are winning. You're seeing it more and more and more and more. So I do think I was a little bit ahead of my time. I may have jumped the gun and been a little bit ahead, but I'm not done, and I'm definitely producing more and writing more. And yeah, it's just really good to see our art form growing and in a limelight, not just for me, but just across the board, that people can see it the way we see it and feel it the way we feel it.
It definitely, I was talking to a friend recently, and she mentioned to me that she seems like poetry seems to be having a moment. And what was interesting, as a producing artist, just prior to the pandemic, I'm going to say the 15 months prior to the pandemic, going to poetry venues, I was noticing that the audiences were getting smaller. Yeah, that's a fair statement. They were just getting smaller. People were not showing up as much. And I said, well, you know, I was telling someone else, like, you know, but it's very cyclical as well. So don't worry, it'll come back. But it seems like something about the pandemic, maybe it's because the poets were the first ones to discover Instagram Live. And then, of course, Brandon Leak being on America's Got Talent.
And then you had Amanda Gorman, you know, as the Youth Poet Laureate and an inaugural poet. Yeah, it was a lot of, I think it was a lot of stepping stones that happens at the same time, right? And I think that's often what happens with poets. It's like, we'll get one person that has a big break and we're like, yeah. But I think the difference between then and now is you're seeing it in different areas. And I think one of the biggest thing is, right, let's keep it all the way real. Like, you know, I know that, you know, nobody kind of knows what genre to put us in, right? They don't know if it's like, what's a literary art? Well, you can put it in a music genre. Well, you can put it in this, right? But I think when people were craving honesty in a time with so much fake news, so much false information, so much bullshit, let me say that, happening, poets came through. And some people didn't want to hear a song. They didn't want to, you know, forget about it. They didn't want to kumbaya, or they didn't want to, like, I just want to be angry to be angry. They wanted, like, yo, can somebody spit facts? Can somebody spit something that, like, they just talk to me like a person, not like I'm a meal ticket. And poets, we've always done that. You know, griots of old, that's what we do, is we story tell, we carry the truth from place to place to place to place. That's how history even started being history, right? And so I think
traveling bards, yes.
Yeah. So I think during the pandemic that was a part of, like, our launch, right?
I agree. So yeah, so I think we're coming in vogue again. I'll say it that way.
Yeah.
All right. So the next thing I wanted to ask you about, and it's not that I don't want to shortchange, but again, as I mentioned, I want to make sure that you have a break between all the things tonight.
Okay.
Poetry University and your teaching of poetry business. How did you get involved in that, and what would you want to say about that? I'll say that.
Yes. So originally, Jamon Hill, who runs Poetry University along with Kenneth Something, started this beautiful model, by the way, absolutely beautiful model, came to me and was telling me about the idea and the concept of it. And at that time, Kenneth was doing the administrative work and handling that like a G. And Jamon was teaching his courses with guest lecturers coming in. That was also a really great model because he is a college professor. So he knows his jam when it comes to, like, following a syllabus and stuff like that. And they both came to me and asked me if I wanted to teach the business side of it, and kind of a different arm of Poetry University. And I was excited to think about that. I've done professional development for a very long time. And I also wanted to think of things that poets right now, whether they're just starting and breaking in, meaning they're just starting to find their voice, but thinking about would I want to do this long term, or even like seasoned veterans that are like, yeah, I've done this for a very long time, but I'm reaching a plateau. How do I break through? How do we do that, right? How do we have all of those kind of embodiments of personas in one space and still add value to their life and to their existence and their career? And so I was very pleased that Jamon and Kenneth kind of gave me free reign to develop that. And for me, it was really starting with some stuff that was basic, right? Starting with, you know, what is your values? What is your mission? What is your core belief system? That was very interesting, right? Because I think a lot of artists don't think about that. They just think about the art, right? And I go, well, people aren't buying the art. They're actually buying you. Right.
Every time.
And so we were able to do a lot of like personal development in those classes of people really identifying what that looked like. And I think it took the stigma off of branding. Right. I hate that word branding. It makes everybody nervous. It's like, oh, God, I got to fit into a box. But framing that in a way that is like your branding is your values. It is your belief system. It is what you stand for, right? It is all of that and encompassing your art. And so, yeah, we were really happy. We did 2 sessions of Poetry University right before summer. I think we ended in spring or fall of 2020. And they were both packed and they were both full and students are still going. What's really cool is you know, Anubis was in Poetry University, Poetic Prez was in Poetry University. A lot of the poets that I see kind of climbing the scale were there on both the writing end and the business end. So it's good to see like they're using the tools, they're putting them to play. But yeah, it was super dope. I love doing it. Jamon and Kenneth are absolutely brilliant for setting up the infrastructure of that and being able to provide that service and to allow me to come in and kind of give that lens and that leg.
Oh, because it's definitely a thing. I know sometimes I struggle with, well, what do I have to offer other poets outside of a stage? But then I also get a lot of new poets that come to me and I'll look at them and I say, okay, you need this. Like I have like 2 or 3 things. I need at least one high. I need you to go get a photo shoot. I need some high res pictures because people are creating flyers. Okay, I'll say that out loud now that Kat gave me that face. If you are in the poetry world and you want features and you want people to book you and put you on a flyer, you need high resolution pictures. Invest in a photo shoot.
It's real funny. Simple things like that will take you from it will actually jump you $200 instantly. Because the moment you send them a non-high resolution photo, they're like, oh, my bar for you is now $750. You're not going to hit 1,000.
And when you send high resolution photos, or when there are high resolution photos available or good photos available, it is easier to market you. Do you know how easy it was? Kat's photos are on a white background. Do you know how easy it is to make a flyer and to do all the things?
Yeah. That's not to say you can't get those good gigs without that, but we're just saying it makes it a lot easier.
It makes it a lot easier going forward.
Yeah.
And also somewhere, and this is just for me, because this is definitely an event that I spoke about earlier, the event I'm working on in August. The people that contacted me asked me for a video.
Okay, I can send you that.
Because the people that contacted me don't know any of the poets that I'm bringing with me. They barely know me.
Right.
They heard about me and found me to put this showcase together and said, well, I need to see some videos of these people's artwork that you're bringing to me. So y'all need to have at least one good quality YouTube video.
That's real. And look, I got all my videos on YouTube are old. They hella old, but they're still decent quality. Yeah. So they still work. I probably have 4 different hairstyles in them. That's my biggest problem is don't change your look all the time, because then people are like, is this the same human? Like, I don't understand. I get that all the time. They're like, wait, this is Kat too, right? With the short. Oh, okay. And I'm like, yeah, it's all the same person. It was platinum,
it's all the same person.
Orange, black, short, curly, straight. It's all me.
Yeah.
So yeah, consistency is really, really key. But And Poetry University definitely teaches a lot about that. And yeah, it was really amazing and dope to be able to be a part of that. And I was very honored to come on as the kind of business limb of that.
And the last gem I drop on everybody all the time is mind your reputation inside in the community of the business community of poetry, because your name will be in places that you have no idea that they are there, and you want to make sure that whatever being said behind you is good, because that will get you farther than anything.
Yeah, true story. And if whatever they're saying is not good, don't let that bring you down to a lower standard.
Right.
So you just keep trucking on with what you know, because there will be haters, and the bigger you get, the more will come for you. And just always act out of integrity, always act in professionalism. And it matters in poetry. Like, even though poetry is still building its spoken word, poetry has built itself as an industry. Spoken word is still building itself as an industry. So if you are a performance poet, right, if you are a spoken word artist, even though we are building the industry, we are also setting the standard for what professionalism looks like. So definitely make sure to just, keep a smile, act lovely,
show up on time, and be ready to rock at all times.
Yes.
Okay. So what I'm going to do now is I have 10 questions that I ask all of my artists. These are my, get to know you questions. Like I said, this is time to bring the poet from behind the microphone. So we're going to talk about you for a little bit.
Okay.
Question number 1. Tell us what brought you to writing poetry.
Ooh. What brought me to writing poetry? Like, that's a whole different question. So, I was writing poetry when I was really little, like elementary school. And honestly, what brought me to writing it is that I read The Giving Tree, probably like in first grade, something like that, and was like, oh, wow, you can express yourself through writing and I don't have to talk. And I was very much, as hard as it believed, an introvert when I was a kid. And I didn't talk.
All introverts.
Yeah, I didn't talk really to anyone. I was a child of abuse, divorce, kidnapping, the whole deal. Yeah, it was pretty crazy, my life as a kid. But I always could find a piece of paper, and I could always write something. And I also felt like I could write it in a coded way that would keep me safe. And I didn't realize that what I was doing was poetry. What I thought I was doing was just being able to express myself with a sense of safety in the best way that I could. And then as I got older, right, realized that what I was doing was poetry. What I was doing was, really self-expression through the literary arts. And so then I moved to California, a long move from PG County, Maryland. And
that's where I'm in DC. Hello.
Yeah. So I grew up in Riverdale, Landover Hills, that area. And then moved to California. And then when I moved to California, I found an amazing place called A Mic and Dim Lights. That kind of grew me into the poet I currently am. And yeah, I've been doing it ever since. Yeah.
Okay. I asked this question because as a host of poetry shows, invariably somebody at the end of the night will walk up to you and say, I don't think I could ever do that. You look so confident. You look I don't know if I could do that. So I ask all my artists, tell us about the first time that you got on stage to perform a poem, how you felt about it. Did you read? Was it off the top of your head? Just give the people.
First of all, I definitely read the first time I ever spit a poem aloud. I definitely read it. I was pretty terrified, to be honest. I don't even know if I was the one that actually signed my name to the list or a friend did. And so I went to the mic. I was shaking. I was like, you could see like the paper shake. And I did this terrible poem called The Ship Has Sailed. I was 16 years old. And a boy had broke up with me. I was like, oh, you ain't nothing. And I was in a space that felt safe. Corey Kofer, also known as Best Kept, was the host of A Mic and Dim Lights. That's where I first spit my first poem aloud. And I thought after that, I think for me, it was, I was okay living in a page. I was okay living inside of a book, and not being seen and not being visible, because I was used to kind of hiding or being invisible or being silenced or things like that. And so the first time I got on a microphone, it was like this whole exhilarating feeling that even though I was so nervous, I was also felt a sense of liberation. And my background was in dance. So I was a dancer my whole life. So I knew how to express through my body, but I never had autonomy over my voice. And so the first time I spit, as terrified as I was, and I was like, oh my God, everybody just heard my feelings out loud. Oh my God, what's going to happen? And then I went and sat down and nothing happened. People clapped and like said, yo, I feel you. And I was like, oh, so I'm not going to die from opening my mouth and sharing my terrible work with people at the stage it was. And after that, I was addicted. I just wanted to keep coming. I wanted to keep spitting. I wanted to keep relating to people because it made me feel not alone. It made me feel like a part of something. And who doesn't like to be a part of something?
That is where we all are. That is where we all are. So now I know your online screen name is Pretty Simple Kat, but you chose not to use a stage name like some people who might be interviewing you. What led you to that decision?
Well, actually, I was funny enough, Simply Sherri. I was Simply Kat, right, for 10 years. And the reason I was Simply Kat was because there was a shit ton of cats in the slam community. There was like 8 of them, right? Most of them, there was like 3 in the Bay. There was a couple, and there was so many cats, right? And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to be Simply Kat. Just Simply Kat. Like, that's it. And I didn't mean it as the whole name of Simply Kat. Like, I was just answering somebody, just Simply Kat, meaning cat. Just say cat. Right. And then the Simply got added to it. And so I was like, you know what? Rock on, Simply Kat. And so, but then when I, crossed over into other areas of like I said, consulting, or when I was doing, Say Word as the executive director or things like that, I chose to go by my real name. And so when I kind of entered back into more of performance art again, I just was like, yeah, I just want people to call me by my name. Like, that's my name. But yeah, I definitely, I never picked a pseudonym because I never feel like I could find one that was cool enough. So I was just like, yeah, instead of picking a name that when I turn 40, I'm going to hate, I'm just going to go by my regular name because I'm not that creative.
There's a whole story. 1, I like Simply Sherri, but 2, there's a whole reason why I don't go by my government name. There's a reason. So, who is your favorite writer? This can be a songwriter, poet, author, anybody that you consider a writer.
Ooh, okay. So like, I'm gonna break this down in a couple different genres though, because there isn't really like a favorite, right? Okay. So Toni Morrison is one of my favorite authors, period. Jazz is one of my favorite books of hers. That is also like probably the most like kind of pushed to the side book, and it's beast as hell. So I don't know why. Also Octavia Butler. So those are my 2 authors. When it comes to poetry, one of my favorite authors is Amir Suleiman. I love Amir Suleiman. I think his work is absolutely incredible. I also really enjoy Jean Ann Verlee. Her work has been really incredible and powerful to me. And then when it comes to songs, Portishead. So a woman, if you ever know that group, Portishead, yeah, Song of Solomon's dope one too. There's the lead singer, her name is Betsy. And it's an experimental kind of music, but her lyrics are just some of the most powerful I've ever seen, alongside of probably Erykah Badu. Lyricist wise those are probably like my top across the genres.
I get it. And that's what I'm like, because analysis says interesting. I've read jazz too. Let me say this correctly. I've read jazz too, but that certainly isn't the one one folk will lift up usually.
Yeah, that's what I said. It's kind of like the under. So there's a part in jazz, right? It's a specific part that made me fall in love with the book because it is a depressing story, right? It's Toni Morrison, so she's gonna take you there. But there's this part specifically in the book that she talks about the Thursday, just the day of Thursday, and why Thursday is glorious, right? Because Thursday has no pressure like Friday does to like have to make something happen out of the day that people will remember. But it also is towards the ends of the week. And she describes kind of just living in this moment of Thursday. And as you read the book from that point on, you start looking at the characters of having these Thursday moments. And at the time that I read this book, which was many years ago, I found myself asking myself, like, is this a Thursday moment? Is this a day to release yourself of pressure? Is this a day to, just walk in the world and be and enjoy it? And, Friday will come and you will have the pressure of having to do something fun. And Monday will be here soon enough. And you will have the pressure of figuring out your entire existence. But that book really changed my life, mainly for that part. So, yeah.
That does sound like a life lesson. And Analysis also wants to throw in that he loves the bluest eye.
Of course. Of course.
Okay, so the next question is, okay, you can have a 1 hour conversation with anyone in history, living or dead. Who would you choose and why?
Ooh, living or dead?
Living or dead?
Yikes. That's a hard one.
That's a rough one. The answers come from, I've heard everything from family members. That's pretty much mine as a family member.
Okay.
To someone actually said Jesus once.
Okay. I mean, I'm cool. I mean, I don't need to holler at Jesus. I don't need to wake him again from the dead.
Wait a minute. I just saw a meme that's it was a TikTok. And that was the question. You can have 1 hour in heaven. Which family member you going to see? It's like, I will see my family later. Let me talk to Jesus and God to make sure I'm doing this right.
Right. Damn. I'm trying to think, like, there's so many people, right? Because you're living or dead. Like, there's so many people. Mm-hmm. Oh, I don't know. I feel like in my heart of hearts, I feel like it would have to be like some kind of like, man, who do I want to do? I feel like it would be some kind of visual artist, just because I feel like they document history in such like an interesting way. But then another part of me is like, you know what I mean? Like they would know that, like Dali, like maybe Dali, because he's so weird and he's so interesting, but he also was like a part of multiple eras of art and culture. Yeah.
And I'm thinking of his photos to see the world through his eyes, just to
like Salvador Dali, maybe I'd want to talk to him. I just feel like he'd be super interesting to talk to, and figure out what that looked like. Maybe, yeah, I'll go with that. Salvador Dali.
I'm with you on that one. I like that one. The next one is your perfect concert. The Rose Bowl is set up for you. 3 acts. You are 7th row center. Who's on the stage?
Man, these questions are hard.
They're not meant to be hard.
Because there's so many artists. There's so many things. Okay.
And feel free. And you know what? And feel free to go anywhere, because you'd be surprised at some of the answers we've heard. Everything works.
Yeah.
Everything works.
Yeah. Yikes. Okay. Living or dead, it doesn't matter. Okay.
Doesn't matter.
Have to go with Prince. I seen Prince in concert, and it was one of the most amazing shows I've ever seen. So definitely Prince again. Definitely Erica will go back on there, because I have never missed an Erica show in LA ever. Let's see. I will go with Jessie Reyes. I haven't seen in concert, and I would love to see her. Okay. Man. I'm like trying to think. You know what? Kevin Gates would be on there. I rock with Kevin Gates all day. Okay. Man,
this sounds like a dope ass show. That's why I'm gonna let her keep going.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, Kevin Gates would be dope. I'm like, you know what? It would be like a dabble of it'd be like a dabble of David Bowie. Like David Bowie would just come out and like do like one song right quick. That would make me happy. Definitely would add Portishead in there. Like, yeah, it'd definitely be like one of those like variety music festivals.
I'm down. You know what's interesting is now that I think about asking this question, even of myself, anyone to know me is to love me, and is to know that I am a huge New Edition fan.
New Edition, right? You could do New Edition, Escape, Belle Biv DeVoe, Jodeci, like that alone. It's like it's a bop.
Now, what's crazy is now that I sit here and think about it, in 1996, it was 702, Keith Sweat, and the New Edition Home Again tour. So it was all 6 of them in Philadelphia. I went to that show.
You know what's so funny? My mama went to that show because my mom was a huge Keith Sweat fan. Like my mom rocks with, like, that was her dude. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And when you name that right now, I was like, wait, I feel like my mom went to that show.
That was a great show. And they've, of course, at that point, they definitely broke down to all their varying iterations. So yeah, that was probably, and honestly, I'd have just saw the 6 of them and would have just been happy as a pig in mud. But
right, that's what I'm saying. And now it's like you are getting like festivals that are giving you so much variety, so many different things.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's like we're kind of used to this like festival mentality of like, I get a little bit of everything, which I love. So like, I don't know, girl. I don't know. That's a lot. That's a lot.
Analysis wants to know, which songs from Bowie would you want to hear?
Oh, put on your red shoes and dance with me. That's my jam. That's my jam.
That song is dope.
I don't know why I had to do the movement, but I feel like
it's
you
okay.
have to do the movement.
It's all right. It's okay. Yeah. It's fine. It's fine. I'm here.
Queen. I would definitely want to see Queen.
I would pay to see Queen.
Queen got bop, like banger after banger after banger after banger after banger. Like Queen. Yes.
Yeah. And you got to go. I would bring Freddie Mercury back for that show.
Right? Yeah. Right? Okay.
So tell us something about yourself that most other artists in the community would not know. This could be a hobby none of us know about, a collection, just anything.
Okay, so something that most people don't know about me, unless you like know me, is that I actually was a speed skater for about 7 years and was sponsored by Toyota and trained at the Olympic Training Center in Colorado.
Oh, wow.
When I was 12. I was young. I was in middle school, and I had a tutor, and I was trained, and I was training for the X Games actually with inline skating outdoor.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
It was.
And that's definitely getting some. That's impressive from our crew. So that's.
A long time ago. Now, if I put on a pair of skates, I don't know what would happen, but that was a big thing for me.
That is an accomplishment. Do you have another creative outlet outside of writing poetry? And if not, is there something else that you would like to learn?
Yeah, I have a lot of creative outlets. I'm trying to see, like, even in front of me. So, like, this is a big thing. I'm really big into art, into sketching, drawing, all these things. So, like, I constantly have a sketchbook. You'll see a sketchbook that's all beat up around me, and like you'll see these weird like little characters. Like,
wow,
yeah, like I do like all these like weird, they're all like just weird little drawings and sketches and characters of this very fantasy, very whimsical. But it helps me process emotionally the same way, and so that poetry doesn't always do. I dance every moment that I can. My background was in tap ballet, jazz, lyrical point, the whole deal. But I also just dance around my house. I do that. I kind of dabble in a little bit of everything. I think one thing that I wish I could do that I've never learned to do is I don't know how to play an instrument.
Okay.
Like, that's the only thing. Like, I don't know how to play an instrument. I don't know how to play a guitar. I don't know how to play a drum. I don't know how to play a piano. Like, I don't know. I can keep rhythm and time, but I don't know how to play these things. So that is the one thing I wish I could learn, any kind of instrument.
I get that. So this is the last question from my list. We will open it up for you to do one more poem if you would like, and then we will open it up for Q&A from the audience and from the other host here. I always like to give that warning so everybody knows what's about to happen.
Yeah.
I took this question. I got the whole idea for the list of questions from Inside the Actors Studio, the show on Bravo, and I definitely lifted this question straight from them.
Okay.
If heaven exists, what would you want to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
Woo! Heaven exists. What would I want God to say when I arrive at the pearly gates? Honestly, probably I would love to be greeted with a, "Bitch, you made it!" That's it. That's all you need to say. She need to say, it need to say, whatever form God may take. Just, "Bitch, you made it." You know what I'm saying? With the hand thrown in the air. That's it. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, like it's been a long road.
Just a, "Woo! You made it. You made it." That's all I need. That's all I
get
need.
it.
I don't need no advice from that point on. I don't need no counsel. I don't need no big kudos up on nothing I did here. Just acknowledge I made it.
Just I made it, and where are my grandparents? That's all I want. So I am going to go ahead, and the screen is yours.
Okay. I'm just really into doing, like, I don't know, pieces more recently written. So I love that I get to read some of those things and share with you guys. So that makes me really happy. So this has been kind of my favorite poem that I wrote during the pandemic. I feel like I share it constantly because it's how I felt and what I went through. So hopefully you guys enjoy it as well. It's called Gravitational Force. Gravitational force exists between all objects with mass, meaning that one object with mass will attract another object with mass, and the farther apart the masses are, the smaller the force. We were forced to be 6 feet apart. The length of a twin mattress. The duality of absence makes the heart grow fonder and just out of arm's reach. They say, if you know how big two objects are and how far apart they are, you can figure out the force between them. So what is the force between two planets when they are pushed 6 feet outside of their solar system? Will the sun make a mattress of herself when we can't pull each other close? Or will the moon let the oceans push us further away because 6 feet is starting to feel like the Red Sea parting every reason that you once loved me? Scientists say that Jupiter has the strongest gravitational force, and I've never been to Jupiter, but I've been kissed by you on days that I felt 470 million miles away, and you pulled me back into orbit. Maybe we never knew gravity or how to be grounded. Maybe we were always drifting away from each other, the perfect distance to see the elephant in the room. I was told that rhinos are 6 feet tall, so maybe this isn't our elephant, it's just our rhino. Maybe if we can charge through gravity and touch once more, that we can pull ourselves back together. And scientists say that a force doesn't reduce to zero until the separation between two bodies is infinitely large, and I'm only 5'7". So if I lay my body at your feet, you only have to stretch out your hand 3 inches to keep us from becoming falling stars. Do you remember while you fell for me? Or am I so easily forgotten when I can't lay on the twin mattress between us? Scientists say that Mercury has the least gravitational pull, since Pluto isn't considered a planet anymore because it's not gravitationally dominant enough to pull other objects of the same mass into it. Maybe I never pulled you into me. Maybe social distancing is an excuse to blame the world for what has always been between us. Like a 6-foot door locked from the outside, a dining room table without chairs, or a 6-foot refrigerator barren and desolate. I crave the moments when we were explosion of wrapped leg and pressed mouths, when the force of gravity compressed our atoms so tightly together that we burst into stars. Maybe we were always forcing this to work. Two forces trying to jump galaxies, but maybe 6 feet is the perfect distance to become a disaster, the perfect distance to see each other in focus, to acknowledge gravity in our relationship becoming a coffin buried 6 feet below the surface. Thank you so much for having me, Sherri.
Thank you for coming. Thank you for coming. As always, now's the time. If anyone has any questions, wants to jump in on the Q&A. Oh, I just saw Nikki come up. There she is, waiting for Girl Genius and Charity to come back.
Hey, I just want to say you look different right now. What are you talking about? I didn't even know that was you. Matter of fact, when she sent the flyer, you know, we have our little team meeting thing, and she sent the flyer, and I was like, oh, okay, who's that? And I was like, I didn't even know that was you, because you look different on the flyer. Like, because so many people sent me your slam on Instagram. You know how you can share it, and they
Yeah.
And I'm like, Sherri, I be sleep, child. I done watched a little bit of it, but like 11 o'clock, I be out.
It's late for y'all on the East Coast. It's late for y'all on the East Coast.
We try.
So I have to say that I am proud of you. Okay. I'm proud of you for doing this and keeping this going for so long and having an outlet for poets, because people have been talking about this. You know, definitely you have an East Coast presence on this side, which is amazing. And I'm just proud of you for doing this. I just wanted to say, I just want to say that, you know what I'm saying? And my question is going to be, how do you find some sponsors, child? Tell the people, how do you find the sponsors?
So how do I find my sponsors?
Yes.
Okay, so a lot of it is it's just talking. It's just building relationships. You know, for me, all the sponsors that we've had for every season, usually it's a connect through a friend. Keep it real. It's literally talking directly to my friends and being like, hey, do you think anybody would be interested in this? Do you think anybody that is looking to develop their social media presence would want to join, so that we can help them? Because a sponsorship isn't about a sponsor just coming over and giving you money. You know what I mean? Like it's in reciprocity. So it's like, what do you have to offer that sponsor, right? Whether that's placement, whether that's descriptions of, like how their product or service aligns with what you do, like. But it really starts with just a relationship and just asking a homie.
Right. Your network is really your network.
That's true story.
It's the truth.
So one question we have from the chat so far is, are you going to do the Screentime Slam open mics again?
So probably. I do want to give everybody a heads up because I haven't done it, but you guys can be the first to know. So I have quite a few things on my plate of my own art coming up the next couple, maybe 6 months. So I'm going to do my best to still keep the platform a space for people to come. But it is on, my personal page as well. And so I would do my best in between seasons to have those spaces. But I'm gonna be real honest, I'm not obligating myself to that because I also have to have time for me and what I'm developing and producing more film stuff, as well as performing stuff, as well as like just some side business stuff. So we'll see. So stay tuned. That's my answer. Stay tuned and see.
So what is the break that you make? How long is the break between Screentime seasons normally?
Yeah, so the typical break between seasons is usually about a month. I usually take 30 days, and mainly the 30 days is a break for everybody else, but not a break for me. So that's also something to keep in mind, because it's a break for everybody else, but I'm also locking in sponsors during those 30 days. I'm prepping and making sure that the money's in the bag, that everybody's good, and we can keep going. So this time it may be a little bit an actual break for me. But yeah, it's usually about a month, but that's why I say always like check back in with the website because that's always being updated. That's always being
and that is at katmagill.com.
No. So that's my personal site, screentimeslam.com. They can visit at any time to do that. I mean, they can come visit me at katmagill.com too. But for Screentime, yeah, they can do screentimeslam.com. And yeah.
All right. See, watch me now. Because the wonders that is, I can change the ticker. There it is. So find out when the next series of Screentime Slam is coming up. It is screentimeslam.com. There was another question. Also from Alex the Great. What one word best reflects or describes your artistic vision?
Ambitious.
I like it. I like it. I like it. What would you like to see as the next steps for poetry and spoken word in general?
So this is an interesting question. So I'm currently the Brave New Voices educational coordinator. And one of the things that we put together for Brave New Voices this year is a panel talking about the future of poetry. And what do we see moving forward? And in talking to a lot of people, I think the biggest thing that I would like to see artistically is for people to take risk beyond what they feel like is comfortable and able to monetize. I would like people to push the art form in ways that none of the rest of us have thought of, or if we thought of them, maybe add a different lens, a different perspective, willing to write beyond the structured format that we all know, right? Yeah. That's artistically what I'd like to see happen. Entrepreneurially, right? That's not even a word, but I'm going to make it a word.
We make up words.
Yeah. I would love to see poets ask for more. Just ask for more. And not be crabs in a bucket of like, oh, we're just going to ask for more from each other, but then don't ask the people that actually have it, right? Like to collaborate and build together, you know, in unison, to be able to get to that higher and be able to ask for more and more visibility, constantly more visibility in different realms, different perspectives. And that's why I think pushing the art form to go beyond what just everybody already knows, of just like a poem on camera. Okay, what else, right? Like, like I want more. It's good for short content. I love that. Yes, you can get big off of short content on social media with just doing a poem. But what else, right? What are the dreams, right? Is there like a poetry comic book you're dropping, or is there another type of poetry film that's happening, or when you're doing a poetry stage play, like is it interactive, right? Or is it just again another like sit in the audience and golf clap, or do people actually get to come on stage with you? Like there's so many things that I feel like our art form can conform to or mold to, and I just want people to push it.
I really like that you said that, because I'm first off, because one project that came out last year, Roscoe Burnham's Traumedy, which is a comedy routine with poetry, a whole thing available on Amazon Prime. It's still there. Everybody go find it. And with that, I'm thinking about that staged production that he did. I also watched a staged production. It was a play called What the Constitution Means to Me. But she used the Constitution to talk about her past experiences in life in general. How, like one of the cases she brought up was a domestic abuse case. And like, I forgot what amendment that she brought up, but that's how she processed the whole 13th amendment.
Creativity matters. Like that's all I want. That's all I want. Like if you want to be an artist, if you want to be a creative, then be creative, right? And that's not like, you know, that's not necessarily me talking to poets, but that is me talking to people that want to be creatives, right? Is that innovation matters. Give me something different from a different viewpoint, different lens, a different perspective, presented differently. I really see poetry doing that and pushing those, but I want to consistently see that.
I agree. I think part of what has happened in the before times is that everybody was definitely in the open mic path or the slam path, and there really wasn't that much other work happening. But now we're seeing so much other work.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so I'm going to bring everybody back. Here comes Kaniki, and here comes Girl Genius. Because Girl Genius always asks the last question. Oh, and I want to let you know one thing, Kat. One of the answers to this last question that Girl Genius is about to ask us was you. So,
Okay.
It was.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. True story. It was.
Mm-hmm.
The last question is always, now that you have been on the show and you have done this interview and you know what the different segments are, at least a general sense, who do you think we should bring on the show? Who would make a great guest?
Ooh.
And you you were recommended by somebody else that was on the show.
Yeah.
Okay. I love the vibe and energy outside of just like dope questions and being dope moderators, which is really what makes a brilliant show. So kudos to all of you for putting this together and curating this and doing that, because I don't know if people understand how difficult sometimes that work is, to be like, we're all coming together. We have some questions. We need to make sure this runs smoothly. But also your vibe. I want to say, on the top of my head, I want to say Thea Monier. Thea Monier would be really dope to have in this space, who is not only a poet and author, but also a clinical therapist, an amazing woman, and runs a podcast called Shaping the Shift, and is pretty brilliant. So I'm going to say Thea would be amazing here.
Oh, that does sound amazing. They do sound amazing.
Yep.
Yeah, and she just dropped a book too called Blood and Baroque. And so, yeah, she's really dope.
Okay, wait a minute. So that went straight to Girl Genius, because that's her.
I was going to say that at first, when you first said it, I was like, that could go to charity all day.
Right? Exactly. That's what I said too. And then she's like, oh, there's a book.
Yeah, maybe that's a round table.
Yeah, there's a book, there's a podcast. She is definitely a person of many facets. And so, yeah, I think she'd be really amazing here.
Oh, perfect.
I think we do have one last round table, maybe.
We have our November. I think it's November this year.
Yeah, we have
November's our next round table. We have a slot.
We have August and we have November. I think for the round tables, fifth week. Whenever we have a fifth week, it's not a holiday round table.
Well, our August round table is booked. So
yes.
We're very excited. So wait a minute, we will drum roll and announce this. It will be the last Sunday in August.
Yes, ma'am.
I think it's the 29th is the date.
Mm-hmm.
And our special guest will be Love the Poet, an old friend of all of ours who is now in California, and we miss her. So we're looking forward to that interview.
Yes, but before that,
we have plenty of awesome shows ahead.
Before that, next week, I have Chanel Gabriel.
Oh, I love Chanel.
Yes. And if you miss us next Friday, it'll be next Sunday.
Next Sunday. See, this is what happened when you have so many things going on. You have what you doing?
I don't have that much. That's like right now it's like a real chill time. I'm working on 2 big shows right now. That's it. So if you miss us next Sunday, the stream will be up on YouTube, and it'll still be up on Facebook Live. So you definitely want to come back and check us out there. We started recording on Facebook, on YouTube in May with Lady Breon. So we have about 5 or 6 shows there currently up. We need to get some more of them up. We do have some older videos we're trying to get together and edit and making something that we can have out here on the interwebs. So everyone, please like and subscribe to our YouTube. Again, I promise to get Kat out of here in time so she could rest before screen time, because I have watched it and I know, and plus I've hosted Instagram. It's a different type of energy required to host a slam on Instagram.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. And y'all, if you've ever tuned in, you see I'm dancing, I'm up and around, I'm dancing, I'm singing all the songs, I'm making sure everybody's hyped. So yes, Thank you for giving me that time to rest up.
No, like I said, I'll make sure you get out of here on time tonight. So we will be back again next Sunday with Keep the Mic On, Poets and Platforms with Kaniki Jakarta with special guest Chanel Gabriel. And everyone, we will see y'all all back again. Watch some of our old videos and we'll talk to you soon. Bye. 3